Hakadosh Boker Or, Daf Yomi Masechet Sanhedrin Daf Yod Aleph Amud Aleph 11A1. We're going to start on Daf Yod Amud Bet 10B, the last line, Tanu Rabbanan. Okay, the two dots. So it says something new. Tanu Rabbanan, we learned to the Braita. En me'aberin et hashana ela bimzumanin la. We're only going to come and do Ibur Shana with the Yanim, which were invited by the Nasi the night before, meaning that they're prepared. They're already invited, right, for Ibur Shana. Masechet Gamliel, there was a story with Rabbi Gamliel Zaken, that he was the Nasi Sanhedrin. Shamar, that he went and he said, Ashkimu l'shiva la'aliyah, that he went and he told them, listen, get me 7 dayanim to the aliyah. So basically they're going to come, they're going to do the how do you call this? We're going to come and they're going to do the Ibur Shana. Hishkim u'matza shmoneh. So imagine, he got up there, and I was he found 8 guys, not 7. What's going on? Amar misha ala b'shelo birshut yered. He said, whoever came up without permission, he should go down. Somebody came to the meeting uninvited. Leave. What happened? Amad Shmuel HaKatan v'amar, ani hu she'aliti l'shel b'reshut. I came up without reshut. Ve'lo le'aber hashana, but I didn't do it le'aber et hashana. Ela lilmod halacha l'maaseh, right, utzrachti. The only reason why I did it was to learn halacha l'maaseh. Amar lo, says Rabbi Gamliel, shev beni shev. Right, sit down. Reuyot kol hashanim kulan litabel al yadecha. It's fitting all the years to be, right, made into Ibur Shanas through you. But they said, that means basically what happened is that you can't come and you can't do the Masel Matan, meaning you can't go back and forth with all the proofs and everything. That you can't do. Why? Because it only was the rabbis which were invited that they're allowed to do this. However, though, you wanted to come and learn. Sit down and learn. Why? Because you're very, very apropos for such a thing. But the truth is, it wasn't Shemuel HaKatan. Ela ini shacharina. It was somebody else. Umechamat kisufa hu de'avad. And he only did it because of kisufa. He only did it not to embarrass that other person, the other dayan. Right? So this is something incredible. Right? This is something incredible. Look in the footnote. It says there, from here we learn that it's permitted for a person to lie in order not to embarrass his friend. You're allowed to lie in order not to embarrass your friend, right? And then he comes and he says here that somebody wasn't actually permitted. He was able to do it, but he wasn't mitzaref l'minyan shiva. Rabbi Gamliel actually told Shemuel HaKatan that, but still they did it without yeshiva. But the Yerushalmi says that they didn't do it. It was like, they did it the next day. Whatever, fine. Okay? But, okay. Now, just like this next story. What happened with the next story? Once, Rabbeinu HaKadosh was once teaching, and he was giving a drasha. And all of a sudden, he smelled garlic, but a very strong, fragrance of garlic. Amari went and he said, he says, listen, right, if that guy is going to come, at least go outside. Why? You're bothering the shiur. Imagine, nowadays, by the way, the same thing happens usually with smoking. That's why they invented the, how do you call those, Listerine, those like strips. Exactly. They just put it inside and you try, at least tries to cover up at least something. Right? So what happened? Amdu kulan, amad Reb Chia v'yatza. Reb Chia got up and he left. Amdu kulan v'yatzu. So everybody got up and they left. Bashachar, right? The next morning, Metzao Rabbi Shimon Berebi, right? Reb Chia. Rabbi Shimon Berebi, he saw Rabbi Chia. Amarle, he said, he told him, Atau shetziyat alaba, you were the one that caused suffering to my father? Amarlo, he says, Lo te kazot b'Yisrael. This can never happen in Israel. What does that mean? Rabbi Chia himself for sure did not eat the shum. They knew that. But when they came and they saw that Rabbi Chia was the one getting up and leaving, they all got the hint. 1 second. That means we also should get up and leave. So they all got up and leave. Now what did he say? Chas v'shalom shelo te kazot b'Yisrael. There should never be such a thing in Israel. What does that mean? He didn't want to embarrass that boy or whatever it is, that student that he didn't that he ate the shum. So therefore, right, very, very important. You understand? Says the Gemara, where did Rabbi Chia know how to do such a thing? That he just got up and he left. He learned it from Rabbi Meir. The Tanya was learned to the Braita. There's a very famous story. There was a story of a woman that she came to the Bet Midrash of Rabbi Meir, and she told him, Rabbi, one of you guys, one of the students, they came and they had relations with me, and they got married to me, right, with Biyah. And therefore, either they should get married to me or they should divorce me. So what happened? Rabbi Meir came and he wrote her a get and he gave it to her. So then everybody came and they wrote her a get and they gave it to her. Now, why did Rabbi Meir do this? Obviously, it wasn't Rabbi Meir. Obviously, it was in order not to embarrass the student that did this. So therefore, Rabbi Meir came and he wrote her a get. All the students understood it wasn't Rabbi Meir. So then they went and they did the same thing. But Rabbi Meir, where did Rabbi Meir learn to do this? So he says, Mishmuel HaKatan. He learned it from Shmuel HaKatan, right? That he basically left in order not to be a Dayan, right? Just like from here, right? So one more time. Yeah, Rabbi Chia learned it from Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Meir learned it from Shmuel HaKatan. Shmuel HaKatan. So where does Shmuel HaKatan learn it from? Mishachania ben Yechiel. From Shechaya ben Yechiel. Dichtib, it's written in a pasuk. This is talking about after Galut Bavel, right? When a lot of the Jews, they came and they got married to strange women, meaning to non-Jewish women. Vayan Shechanya ben Yechiel mibnei Elam vayomer leEzra anachnu ma'alnu beElokeinu v'nash nashim nuchriyo be'amei haaretz v'ata yesh mikveh liYisrael al zot. He comes and he says, do we have a mikveh? Do we have like a purification process, which is basically tikvah? Do we have, in order to annul this? Meaning the Shechina, the Shechanya, he himself did not take a non-Jewish woman, but he put himself kilu that he's part of them in order not to embarrass all the other people. Okay? Ushchanya ben Yechiel, where did he learn it from? From Yoshua ben Nun. It says in a pasuk, Vayomer Hashem Yoshua, kum lach, lama ze ata nofel al panecha, chata Yisrael. What does that mean? Amar lefanav, ribono shel olam, mi chata? Amar lo, v'chi deletora ani? He says, what? Amaya holech rachil? Lecha tel goralot. He comes and he says, go do a goral. What does that mean? Basically, Yoshua comes and he's praying to Hashem after all of a sudden 36 men died. Right? And what happened was they benefited from the cherem, meaning from Yericho, they weren't allowed to benefit. And all of a sudden somebody came and they benefited. So Hashem comes in from the booty. From Yericho, from Jericho, they weren't allowed to come and they weren't allowed to benefit from it. And what happened was is that somebody came and he did benefit from it. So therefore, what happened is that he went and he said, right, get up. Why? He says Yisrael sinned, and that's why this happened. So Yeshua comes and he tells Hashem, Ribono shel olam, who sinned? So says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, v'chi delatorani. He says, what? Am I going to tell you lashon hara? I'm going to tell you lashon hara. What's going on? Right? Lecha tel goralot. Go come and do goralot. Just like it says in the pasuk. Kum kadesh et ha'amu v'nikraftem b'boker shivtechem v'aya nilkad b'cherem, something that's going to be in the cherem, yisaref b'esh. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu be'atzmo did not want to reveal the sin. And therefore he said, Chata Yisrael, all of Klal Yisrael sinned. Even though it was only one guy. You understand? In order to come and not to be vayesh the choteh. Right? So we learn from here that even in a place where there's a heter and a tzorech to tell a shonara for toilet, if he could come and go bring it out without this, it's a sulo l'saper. Meaning from here, the Chavetz Chaim brings a proof that let's say now it's toilet, meaning it's a good purpose. I need to say it in order that I can fix the problem. But if I could get around telling it over by doing it in a different way, and that's how he did it over here, because he did like a goral, he did a lottery, and that's how he was able to find out who was the one that did it. But if you're able to get out of it another way, you're obligated to do so. Meaning somebody could just say, listen, I fulfilled the 7 conditions of Lashon Hara. I'm going to tell you the Lashon Hara or the Chilu for toilet for good reasons. And therefore it's going to be for constructive reasons. And it's permitted. Says the Chavetz Chaim, from this Gemara you learn that even for constructive reasons, if you could get out of it without doing it, that's what you're supposed to do. Without doing it. Okay? One second. No. He just said himself. That's fine. If you want, you can answer, another proof. Where does he learn it from? From Moshe Rabbeinu. Meaning we're learning it not from Yoshua ben Nun, but rather from Moshe Rabbeinu. Why? Because it says, right, here we're talking about when Hashem is giving rebuke to Moshe Rabbeinu on the manna. Remember that somebody came and they took the manna, right, on Shabbat. They went out to look for it. And now what's going on? So Hashem said, until when are you guys going to refrain, right? Exactly. Until when are you guys going to come and refrain from keeping my mitzvot in the Torah? Now again, it was only 2 people. But still, he went and he said, it's like you guys in general. Why? He wasn't going to say it's 1 person or 2 people. No, it's everybody, right? And again, obviously there's a reason behind this. Okay? Fine. So, but the maskana is obviously, that like what we mentioned, that in order to save somebody from embarrassment, so therefore this is what they're going to come and they're going to do. Okay, fine. Next. Tanu Rabbanan, we learned to the Braita. Mishemetu HaNevi'im Achronim, once the latter Nevi'im, the prophets, they passed away, which are Chagai, Zechariah, Malachi, Nisalka Ruach HaKodesh Miyisrael. There's no more Ruach HaKodesh Miyisrael, V'afapichen, and still, Hayu Mishtamshim Bevatkol. They used to use a batkol. So Pam Achat, once it happened, you must have been Ba'aliyat Bet Guria Biricho, V'nitzna Lehem Batkol Min HaShamayim, Yesh Kan Echad Sheraui Sheshira Alav Shechina, right? Okay, is it like Moshe Rabbeinu or not? You know, it's in brackets. Ela She'en Doro Zakar Echad. You know, there's somebody here that he's feeling to have the Shechina on him, right? Whether it's like Moshe Rabbeinu or not, that's again, right? You have to take that out or not. But he says, but they're not worthy, meaning the generation is not worthy of it. So Natru Chachamim etenem b'Hillel HaZaken. They went and they put their eyes in Hillel HaZaken because they knew that he was the only one that was like that. U'Shemet, and when Hillel HaZaken passed away, Amru Alav, they went and they said, Hai Chasid, Hai Anav, Talmido Shel Ezra. This is a Chasid, this is the Anav that passed away. He was going in the pathways of Ezra HaSofer. Right? He says, Ki b'domeh le'Ezra HaSofer. Also, Hillel HaZaken also went from Bavel to Eretz Yisrael. And he was the one that was Mekim Olam Shel Torah. So because of that, he went and he said he did exactly like Ezra Sofer. So Ezra Sofer came out from Babylonia to Israel. So to Hillel HaZaken did the exact same thing. Okay? Shuv Pam Achat. Again, they were there. Hayum Subim Ba'aliyah B'Yavne. They were in the top floor in Yavne. And Nitna Lehem Batkol. Again, there was Batkol Min HaShamayim that says, Yesh Kan Echad Sheraui Sheshira Alav Shechina. Right? The generation is not fitting. Right? Again, they put their eyes in Shmuel HaKatan. So again, you see here that Shmuel HaKatan was the gadol of the people. Meaning, even though he was called Katan, right? And that's what we said beforehand, right? He was called Shmuel HaKatan, right? He says, I think they explained why exactly.
The prophet was the great.
Yeah, no, but I don't remember now. I thought I just saw why he was called Shmuel HaKatan.
He's been a very great person.
Yeah, but
comparing him to Hechal Shmuel, who was supposed to prepare the Moshe Rabbeinu.
Exactly, yeah. But it was very, very enough.
He said enough.
Yeah. So he comes and he says here like this. He comes and he says, yeah, which note? Like Shmuel HaNavi. That's what he said. Hey, there you go. So meaning that's why it was like a Shmuel HaKatan. Okay. So what happens? He says, but it was like Shmuel HaNavi. Because remember, the Navi came away before. So he says, Ukshemet. So when Shmuel HaKatan passed away, so what happens? So what happened is that he says over here like this. He used to humble himself, right? So he comes and he says, right, Ukshemet, when he died, Amrulav, they said, Hai Chasid Arnat Tamidot Shel Hillel HaZaken. Afu Amar B'Shamit, so too they said at the time of the Mitah, Shimon v'Ishmael Lecharba. Right? Rabban Shimon Gamliel HaNasi and the Mishmael ben Elisha are going to be killed by a cheref. Meaning they went and they already had the nevuah that the Ben Shimon Gamliel and Elisha Kohen Gadol, right? The Bishmael, that's the Bishmael Kohen Gadol, the Chavrohi Liktala, and their friends like Rabbi Akiva are also going to die. Ushara Mal Biza, and everyone else is going to go for booty, right? Ve'akan Sagyan Atidan Lemete Al Alman. Sarot Rabot are going to come on the world. So basically, it comes out that when a tzaddik is niftar Rabba Olam, so therefore, when they passed away, they actually said this is actually what's going to happen. You understand? By the way, this happened with the Chavetz Chaim. Everyone knows when the Chavetz Chaim passed away, he passed away in 1933. He right before passing away, he already told his students. It was on a Motzei Shabbat. The Motzei Shabbat, they used to get dark, so there was no, all the electricity the way that it was.
Tell them to get out of Dodge?
So, he didn't tell them to. He told them, by the way, you should know. We're all suffering because there's going to be a destruction of the European Jewry.
I mean,
he said that. Yeah, he already said it.
Somebody told
if you were there,
I'd have to pack my bags.
100%. But you know how it is. The majority of people, they don't believe it until it actually happens. And then it's already too late. So now it says the Gemara, and therefore terrible things were going to happen to Klal Yisrael. Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava and Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava, and they also wanted to say Hey Chasid Anav, but all of a sudden it became a Nitbalbela Sha'ah, and therefore what happened was because they're not allowed to do Hesped on Harugei Malchut. Meaning, if somebody is killed by the government, they were afraid to come and start doing eulogies on him. Because it's kilu what? The government just killed him and now you're going to start eulogizing. So because of that, what happened was that they weren't able to do the same thing, but they were also going to say the same thing. Hey Chasid, the Anav, look what an Anav, look what a Chasid, look at this, look at that. Fine. Says the Gemara, Tanu Rabbanan, we learned to the Braita, Ema Abrin et Hashanah Lemken Yitzeh Nasi. The only way that they're going to do a Yibur Shana is only if the Nasi wanted to do it. Remember, there's the Rosh Sanhedrin. Masechet Gamliel Hazaken, there was a story with Gamliel Hazaken that he was a Nasi. Shalach li told Raju that he wanted to speak about it in the Etzel Shilton Hechal Shebesudya Sha'alavo, right? And he didn't come back. Vibru et Hashanah, and they went Al Menat Shirtzeh. That means they did it on condition that he wants. Ushebar Gamliel Amar, he says Rotzani. He said Shana Me'uberes, so then it was fine. Meaning that even when he went, he had to come back. But when he came back, they already did it, but it had to be on condition that the Nasi agrees to it. Because if the Nasi does not agree to it, nada. It doesn't work. It has to be that he agrees. Okay, Tanar Banam, we also learned to the Braita. Right? The only reason why they're going to come and they're going to do an Ibur Shana is only because of the paths, right? Like, the highways and all the, or the bridges, right? Or because of also that they used to come and they used to roast the Korban Pesach, and it wasn't able to do it until after the Geshamim, until everything, dries up. Or because of the Galuyot of Bnei Yisrael, that they were taken from one place to another place, and they still didn't come, right? That means they didn't pass the time that they're going to come. So because of these reasons, they're going to do it. But not because of the cold, right? Or because of the snow, or because of the cold, and not because of Galuyot Yisrael, that they didn't come up to Yerushalayim. Meaning these are the reasons why they're going to come, and they're going to make an extra month. Remember, Yibur Shana means that you're making an extra month. You're adding the month of Adar Aleph Adar Bet, right? So because of that, he says these are the reasons. So it has to be because of these reasons, right? Another reason to do it. Tanu Rabbanan, not because of the kids, right? Here we're not talking about the children, right? The kids of the goats, right? And the tlaim or the sheep, right? He says the small ones. He says not because of the gozalot. Again, these are the birds, right? So he says she lo pirchu, right? Why? Because they didn't their psulim to a korban, because they didn't come and they didn't start flying yet. But when it's lacking for another reason, it's like a second reason. Okay, that means basically it's like a sneef. It's like a you add it on, you combine it to make like two different reasons to do it. Kate said, what's the case? Rabbi Yana says, Rabbi Yana he says, we're going to let you know, right? That what? That that you have soft birds, right? Or we're talking about the tlaim, we're talking about the sheep, which are very, very thin. And it's still not the time of the aviv, of the spring. Okay, which means that it comes and it starts, growing the wheat. Ushfarat milta be'anpai, right? And therefore it's good in front of us. Al shatada slatin yomin, and I added on to the year 30 days. Okay, so they came and then they added on 30 days. So again, this is the reasons why we're going to come and we're going to add on to the year. Meitvei. So we're going to come and we're going to ask the following question: Kama leibur shana? How many are the days of Adar Rishon? They come and they add on to Ibur Shana, Shloshim Yom, for 30 days. Rashba comes and he says, Chodesh, a month. What does a month mean? 29 days, right? So he comes and he says, Amar of Papa says, Ratzu Chodesh, Ratzu Shloshim Yom. It's up to them. They could choose 30 days, so they could choose 29 days, which is a Chodesh, right? Because remember, Chodesh is 29 and a half days, really, Benet. So that's why they have sometimes 29, sometimes they have 30. Okay, we're going to see what's the difference between Takifei Kadmai Linvatnute Batrae Yudalef Amubet 11b. What's the difference between the Tkifim, right, from the beginning, and the Anavim from the Acharonim, from the last ones, the humble ones from the last ones, or the strong ones for the first ones? Because even the beginning ones, right, for example, Gamliel, right, they spoke about the Anava much more than Vatzutam, the small ones, like for Shimon Gamliel. The time was learned to the Braita. Masechet Gamliel, there was a story of Gamliel. He was sitting on a step in Arabait. And it was Yochanan that he was a sofer. And he had in front of him 3 garot, 3 letters. He told him, take one of them, and write. And meaning Galila Elyon is the upper Galilee and the lower one. You should have a lot of shalom. We're going to let you know that it came the time of Yud Masrot. And therefore they have to separate the Masrot from the olives. And then write another one. So the ones in the south of Israel. A lot of shalom. We're going to let you know it came the time of Biur Masrot. In order to take off the Maser from the barley. And take another one and write down to all the Galuyot, whether it's in Bavel, Madai, or all the other places in exile. You should have a lot of Shalom. You have the soft Gozalim. And they didn't came the time of Aviv. So they came because of that, and they added on the 30 days. And therefore, be careful to do Pesach at the proper time in order not to eat chametz on Pesach, since they're going to make it into the leap year. So it comes out Rav Gamliel, he was known to be a takif. He said in such an anava that it's going to be good in front of also his friends, meaning, right? And his son Rabbi Shimon, he was known. Yes. Yes, exactly. Right, he says here, but Rabban Shimon, that was known as the Ranvat Natan, he only said it was good because it was in my eyes. Meaning the father, that he wasn't actually called a Navat Natan. He wasn't called a humble person, but he was so humble, he always said that I'm not doing it because it looked good in my eyes, and therefore I made it into a thing. It was because it was also good in my friend's eyes. The next one was it was good in my eyes. So it says the Gemara, he says it's not true. Really, Be'emet, maybe the story happened already after, right? After meaning now he became an anav. He became an anav later on, not beforehand. So the beforehand, he just said, listen, if I'm favor in my eyes to do it, so I made it into leap year. Later on, it became a bigger anav. Fine. Ten Rabbanan, right?
Is intolerant of the students.
Yes. Fine. Ten Rabbanan, we learned to the Braita. There's going to be three things that we're going to make Ibur Hashanah, Aviv, on the spring.
Three more reasons.
Yes, three extra, 100%. So number one is Aviv. Remember, the Pesach always has to fall out in the springtime. So therefore, if it's not going to be in the springtime, which means that the wheat and everything is growing, so therefore it's going to be a problem. So obviously they want to make sure that the Pesach will come out in the spring. Ve'al perot hailan. Right? And on perot hailan. Everyone understood why it could be that it's not going to come out the spring. Remember that the Hebrew calendar is always 11 days shorter than the English one. So after 3 years, you already lost 1 month. So therefore, Pesach every single year is becoming 1 month earlier. Right? It's not 1 month; it's 11 days. But by the time 3 years comes, it's going to be 1 month earlier. So now, if it's going to be 1 month earlier, it's not going to be in the spring. So in order to make sure that Pesach is always going to come in the spring, that's why usually every 3 years is a leap year. You added the month,
because
and then
354 and
365.
355 is the number, and the month. But because it's 354 and 8 hours, that's the 3 years. 8 times 3 is 24 hours.
Exactly. That's why. That means you're lacking 11 days every single time. Meaning Pesach every single year. If you never made a leap year, Pesach would always be 11 days earlier. Now, if you do 11 days earlier, after 3 years, it's already a month. If you do it after 6 years, it's going to be 2 months. So imagine it's going to be in the middle of February, Pesach. You understand? You can't do that. You understand? So what exactly? By the way, you should know the Arabs, the Muslims, they do the Hebrew calendar as well. The only difference is that they don't do the leap year. So since they do the leap year, Ramadan could come out in December, and then it could come out in August, and then it comes out all over the year. Because there's nothing to do, because they never change it. So every year it's always changing. You understand? So because of that, for us, we always have to make sure that Pesach will always come out in the spring. Number two, Val Perot Ilan, on the fruits of the trees. Right? That has to be before Shavuot. If they didn't come out, if they're not going to be cooked before Shavuot, ripened. Vela Tkufa, or the Tkufa. Right? So those are going to be 3 different reasons why they're going to come and make a leap year. Right? Of adding a month. Al Shnai Mehen Mabrin. On 2 of them, they're going to make a leap year. But only 1 of them, they're not going to make it. But if Aviv is one of them, Hakol Smechin. So obviously everyone's going to be happy. Why? Because even though Pesach is going to be pushed off for another month, right? Because again, it's not going to be fitting, and all. But then, and that means it's actually going to come out that there's going to be an Isur of Chadash even longer, right? But still, right, they're going to come and they're going to say, right, that this is what's going to happen. Because remember, when you make a leap year, so it's 1 extra month that you have an Isur of Chadash, right? For example, this year it's not a leap year. But if it was a leap year, so that means you would have 1 extra month that you can't eat all the wheat from the new crop and all those things. Okay, Rabban Shimon says on the Tkufa, right, also as well. The Gemara is going to ask, so they're going to come and they're going to ask the following questions. right? Ala tkufa, what does that mean at tkufa? They're going to be smechin, or la tkufa, they're going to be me'abrin? Because we just said that everyone's going to be happy on the Aviv. But then we said, Rabbi Shimon argues, and he says, al tkufa. So what does it mean? Al tkufa, that they're going to be happy that they changed the tkufa, because it's going to be coming earlier? Or is it going to be that they're going to make it into a muberet, a year, which is shana muberet? Teku, they don't have an answer. Okay, fine. Remember, the tkufa is that the concept that you're not allowed to drink from the waters, right? And this is the entire. For example, we do barech alenu 60 days after the tkufa, right before the tkufa. So therefore, this is the entire concept of the tkufa. Okay, fine. Next, Tanu Rabbanan, we learned to the right. Al shalosh al shosha ratzot mabinin tashana. Three different countries or parts of the country. We're going to come and we're going to be me'aberet tashana. Right? What are they? Yehuda, Ever Yeden, and Galil. Al shtayim mehem me'abrimon. Two of them you're going to make it shana muberet, and one of them you're not going to make it shana muberet. Bizman sheYehuda chamem. If Yehuda is going to be one of them, so everybody's going to be happy. She'en omer ba elamin Yehuda. Because remember the korban haomer, which is the barley only, which is for Sefirat HaOmer, the second day of Pesach, that is always going to come from Yehuda. So therefore, obviously, if one of them is going to be Yehuda, they're going to be very, very happy. Tanu Rabbanan, we also learned on the right time, Mabrim et Hashanim, right? Ella Yehuda. You're only going to be Ma'aberet Hashana only in a bedim which is Kavua and Yehuda. If they did it in Galilee, Muberet, it's going to be okay. And Chanina Yishono, he actually came and he testified in front of Gamaliel. No, that it's not going to be Muberet. Okay, Amar of Yehuda, Shimon ben Pazi says, Yehuda name Shimon ben Pazi. My tamad Chanina Yishono. What's the reason for Chanina Yishono? Amar Kai says a pasuk l'shichnot tidreshu vata shama. What does that mean? Kol drisha shata doresh lo yul b'shichno shel makom. Whenever you're going to be doresh means you're going to pursue and you're going to find out something that you're going to be doresh. You're going to seek. So when you're going to seek, investigate. Right, the tzorchet tzibur, the necessities of the tzibur, whatever they require, right, it should only be in Yehuda, because that's where Yerushalayim is. Yerushalayim is in Yehuda, so you're always going to do it for over there. Tan Rabbanan, we also learned to the right time, you're only allowed to do it during the daytime. And if they did it in the nighttime, it's not going to be okay. And the same halacha applies to Kiddusha Chodesh. When do they make the new moon? Only in the daytime, but not in the nighttime. If they did it in the nighttime, it's not Mikudash. And that's the reason why you don't go back on Ya'aleh V'Yavo at nighttime, by the way, on Rosh Chodesh only. On every other Chag, you do go back. But on Rosh Chodesh, you don't, because Chodesh balayla. You don't do it. You don't sanctify it during the nighttime. Okay? Amar Rabbi Abba says, Rabbi Abba, my krabbat pasuk. Tiku b'chodesh shofar b'kesed yom chagenu. Right? Tiku b'chodesh shofar b'kesed yom chagenu. Ezu chag shachodesh. Because what is the only chag that you don't have a moon? Every chag there's a moon. Right? For example, Tu B'Av, we're talking about even Shavuot. Technically, there's already a moon. Where you have Sukkot and Pesach, it's the 15th of the month. You have a full moon. What is the only chag that does not have a moon? Rosh Hashanah, right? Mishpat is only by Yom. When do you do judgments? Judgments is only the judgment during the day. You don't do it at night times. Of Kiddusha Chodesh by Yom. So to Kiddusha Chodesh is only going to be done during the day. We continue with Zat Hashem on Sunday.